Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on up here at Desawe Kanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. And also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Coming up this evening, the big news from Parliament is that Parliament unanimously passes the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. We have details for you and the live updates from Parliament shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Parliament has passed not too long ago the Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values, otherwise referred to as anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Stay with us. We have details for you and the latest on this development. Very, very crucial development for that matter in Parliament shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, inaugurates the 2024 Manifesto Committee of the NPP. And also this evening, will it be John Mahama, Jane Nana Poko, Ajiman ticket for election 2024 as NDC Council of Elders convene on March 7 to deliberate on choice of running mate. We have all the details plus some analysis for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us on the issues as they flow through shortly. And we're keeping a close eye on what's happening in court as well, because with the Kennedy Japan versus Anas Hermiana's case, the Supreme Court has dismissed Anas' suit against the High Court. We have details for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, the Ward District Court has remanded suspects in gruesome murder of the Jirapa Dubai CEO. We have update for you here on Hot Edition, plus the latest in business, sports and entertainment coming up over the next 60 minutes. I am Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. Let's get into the details now. And Parliament has passed the anti-LGBTQ plus bill after successfully going through all three reading stages. So that's the latest story. The third reading of the bill was done today, February 28th, known as the Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. The piece of legislation criminalizes homosexual acts, and its promotion, offenders could face jail term. The passage of the bill comes a day after the board chair of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Professor Audrey Gajekpo, called on President Akufo-Addo to reject the bill, not to assent to the bill in its current form. According to Professor Gajekpo, the bill undermines fundamental human rights protected by the Constitution, including the rights to dignity, freedom of speech and association, procession, participation, academic freedom, equality, and non-discrimination. Let's do a quick recall and hear exactly what Audrey Gajekpo had to say with respect to this particular bill and the position as espoused by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, and the opposition to this particular bill. But let's hold on to that quickly. Let's go straight to Parliament, where my colleague Komla Kluche is joining us shortly from Parliament. But take a look at this on for those of you joining us on Facebook, also at 3FM 927, at the happenings in Parliament as well, and the developments there on this anti-LGBTQ plus bill. This is what ensued in Parliament when the bill was passed.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly pray that you grant me leave, which leave would allow me to formally file some amendments I have to this bill. But the sponsors themselves again and again filed amendments. Please, let's be fair. The sponsors themselves... The sponsors themselves again and again filed amendments. Please hear me. Please accommodate me. I'm not the only one who is coming with an application for second consideration. This is the third time that the sponsors themselves have come to this house for second consideration. The third time. Twice on notice, one without notice. So, Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be out of place to pray, to be accommodated, to enable me file my amendment. Mr. Speaker, I believe that instead of going viva voce, instead of using the extempore approach, if I file and it same appear on the other paper and members are able to read, they will get a sense of my point, and then we'll be able to have a law that all of us would appreciate its import. Mr. Speaker, should we hurriedly suspend the rules and say that we are past it?
Speaker, our colleague, the majority leader, just asked for a prayer. In the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the Bible says that to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. And I believe the time for the third reading of this bill is now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Put a question.
I'm going to put a question. I'm going to put a question that the motion has been moved and seconded. And I left it for your consideration. You made your point. And it's not for me to take the decision, it's for the House to take the decision. And so I put the question. Those in favor that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 be taken through the third reading, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 is read the third time and passed.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Well, so that's how things played out in Parliament. Just some few minutes ago, this anti-LGBTQ plus bill passed into law. If you recall, this was previously known as the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. There's been some amendment made to it. The proper has been taken off. Now it is Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. Now, the opposition to this bill started right from the get-go up until this point. In fact, yesterday, the board chair of the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Professor Alfred, called on President Akufo-Addo to reject the bill. In fact, not to assent to the bill if Parliament does pass the bill. Well, Parliament has done its bit. It has to go to the presidency for a presidential assent for it to become law. Now, this is Professor Alfred yesterday at the press conference.
On Wednesday, February 21, the then Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Penyumakin, withdrew his amendments to the anti-LGBTQ bill, which seeks to impose a prison sentence, paving way for the bill to be considered for passage in the coming days. However, the coalition of civil society organizations and interest groups maintained the bill must be re-looked at.
Ghana is a secular and multi-religious country with over 50 ethnic groups with different cultural practices and beliefs. Any attempt to create a single cultural value system for Ghana erases the beautiful cultural mosaic that makes us a unique people. It is for this reason that the Constitution abolishes all practices and laws detrimental to people's health and well-being, even in the name of culture and tradition.
They noted the bill will undermine the media's ability to speak freely.
Any person that uses the media to broadcast or advocate on this topic faces a prison sentence of up to 3 years. This places a heavy restriction on journalists, bloggers, influencers, and various social media users who produce or publish content, especially those who work in the field of human rights.
They want the president to block the bill when passed by Parliament. They believe the bill in its state will negatively affect the democratic gains of the country.
As a result of this, we urge the president not to assent to the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021.
Well, so that's Audrey Gajepo addressing the press yesterday on this, and their position is they do not want the president to even entertain this bill that has been passed by Parliament if it gets to the point of the president accenting to it to become law. It's some 13 minutes after 5 here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's cross over to Parliament now, where the sponsors of the bill, Sam Nate George, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency, Nelson Roxon Dafiamekpo, who is also the Member of Parliament for the South Dyke constituency. We also had a member of the NPP, in fact, the Deputy Education Minister, Reverend Tim Fodjo, also one of the sponsors of the bill. There are 7 members of Parliament that sponsored this bill, with 1 NPP MP for that matter. That's Reverend Tim Fodjo. And Sam George, together with the sponsors of the bill, are addressing the media, have been talking to the parliamentary press call after this approval of this bill by Parliament. Take a listen.
Indian children is not attacked, and that our cultural values are upheld and respected. Once again, you have our gratitude, and we are grateful. Thank you very much.
What sense are you getting from the other side of the House, the majority side? What sense are you getting?
Well, we want to once again even say a very big thank you to the Honorable Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, who was very instrumental in the passage of this bill. You know that the Honorable John Ntim Fodjo, who is actually not just a member of Parliament on the NPP side, but is actually a member of government by being a member, the Deputy Minister for Education, is one of our sponsors. And we cannot thank Chairman Sabonsu enough for the fantastic work he did with amendments to make sure that this bill has come out well. We believe that the majority of the NPP side, I cannot forget the immediate past Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, the Honorable Dr. Efriye, who actually helped us to improve the definition of sex by adding chromosomal structure to the definition of sex. So there has been a massive support from the majority side and overwhelming support from the minority side. The House has stood united. We may have had 1 or 2 members who have expressed reservations, but that is their democratic right. We respect it, but the overwhelming majority of both sides of the House have supported this bill.
Thank you.
That's what's happening now. Samuel Nate George, together with the other sponsors of the bill, addressing the press, the President of Parliament, after Parliament approved, in fact, passed this anti-LGBTQ plus bill after the 3rd reading earlier today. So that's the development right now with this particular issue. Now, Parliament, if you just join us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. After nearly 3 years of deliberation, Parliament has finally passed a highly contentious anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, the bill, introduced in the House years ago, was approved unanimously earlier today from the completion of the 3rd reading. Now, proposed amendments to the bill were rejected by the Speaker, Abam Bagrin, during the session. The bill is now slated to be forwarded to President Akufo-Addo for his assent. Now, the Majority Leader, Alexander Penyomakin, withdrew several proposed amendments to the bill on February 21. However, during Wednesday's parliamentary session, Penyomakin reiterated his stance on the bill. Let's cross over now and hear from Kamla Kluche's parliamentary correspondent on what's been happening so far. Kamla?
And Family Value Bill be read the third time and passed. There was
Mr.
a bit
Speaker,
of confusion, especially
I
when the
humbly
speaker had not hit the gavel.
pray
That was where there
that
was
you grant me
a bit of
leave,
confusion, but we
which
got
leave
indication that
would
once
allow
the
me
speaker,
to
pose
formally file
question and then
some
the
amendments
House
I have to this bill.
really agrees to it, then
But the sponsors themselves again and again filed amendments.
a short while.
Please, let's be fair. The sponsors themselves.
Ignore them, make your point.
The 8th of February 2024.
The sponsors themselves
After
again
3
and
long
again.
years, we as sponsors, the 8 of us, the Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra, the Honorable Dela Soa, the Honorable Helen Ntoso, the Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafia Mekpo, the Honorable Alhassan Suhini, the Honorable Rita Na Odole Soa, the Honorable John Intim Fojo, and myself, Honorable Samuel Nate George, have, with the support of the Right Honorable Speaker and majority of the membership of the House, successfully brought a close to the third reading of the Family Values Bill and Human Sexual Rights Bill 2024. It is our belief that this will be communicated from the Speaker's Secretariat expeditiously to His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is our hope, our prayer and belief that President Akufo-Addo will be a man of his words and stick to the words he spoke to the Anglican Church in the Eastern region when he said, under his watch, LGBTQ will not be established. When he gave assurances to members of the clergy that he was going to ensure that anything that promoted LGBTQ will be dealt with. There is nothing that deals with LGBTQ better than this bill that has just been passed by Parliament. We expect the President to walk his talk and be a man of his words. We are grateful to the media and will continue to work with you going forward in the sensitization of the public. As sponsors, we once again want to reassure the media that you are partners in this battle and in this struggle. The intent of the bill has never been to gag your Chapter 12 rights. We respect your rights to editorials, but you and I all know that editorials are different from advocacy. And so your editorial rights to issues on the subject of homosexuality, issues on the subject of Ghanaian family values would continue to be protected by us as sponsors and the constitutional public. It is for that reason we introduced the additional consideration today, just to give you that double assurance that subject to the 1992 Constitution's Chapter 12 rights of the media remain entrenched, respected, and protected. For the avoidance of any doubt, be they unintended or mischievous. And so, as our able allies, we want to once again say a very big thank you that you have carried our voice, amplified our voice, and carried the nation along. We know that per the CDD Ghana's own polls, 93% of Ghanaians support this bill and support the work that Parliament has done. And we know that we couldn't have gotten that 93% support on our own, but for the work that you, the media, have done in projecting the ills and vices of homosexuality and projecting proper Ghanaian family values. We'll continue to work with you to make sure that our children are protected, the innocence of Ghanaian children is not attacked, and that our cultural values are upheld and respected. Once again, you have our gratitude and we are grateful. Thank you very much.
What sense are you getting from the other side of the House, the majority side? What sense are you getting?
Well, we want to once again even say a very big thank you to the Honorable Ocansey Mensah Bonsu, who was very instrumental in the passage of this bill. You know that the Honorable John Intim Fojo, who is actually not just a member of Parliament on the MPP side, but is actually a member of government by being a member, the Deputy Minister for Education is one of our sponsors.
Well, so that's Samuel Nate George there talking. Also, that extended version of that press conference have been addressing the media. The President of Parliament indicating the continuous issues that have been raised, especially when it comes to the editorial independence of the media being threatened by some portions of this bill. That's what Sam George is talking about, that they have had an additional layer of assurance that the editorial rights of the media will not be threatened in any way by this particular bill, subject to Chapter 12 of the 1992 Constitution. That has also been added on, that the independence of the media remains impeached in terms of the editorial rights in reporting on LGBTQ plus activities. So there you have it. If you just joined us here, 23 minutes after 5 here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. The Parliament of Ghana has minutes ago unanimously passed the anti-LGBTQ plus bill after the Speaker put the question after the third reading earlier today. So the members of Parliament who have been supporting, who sponsored this bill over the last 3 years: Emmanuel Bejra, Member of Parliament for the Whole West constituency; Dela Juasoa, Member of Parliament for the Pando constituency; John Tim Fojo, Member of Parliament for the Asin South constituency, a Deputy Education Minister as well; Al-Hassan Saibu Suini is a Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency; Helena John Toso, who is a Member of Parliament for the Karachi West constituency; Rita Nao Dole Soa is an MP for the Ladadet Kotopon constituency; Roxy Nelson Dafiomepo is the MP for the South Dyke constituency; and Samuel Nate George, who is a Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency there. Now, Kamala is still with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Now, Kamala, what's after the passage? Now, we did not hear any voices when the Speaker asked those who are opposed it. So clearly, those present did not show any sign of opposition. But you have been also interacting and picking signals from the ground that there were some persons who were opposed to it but did not speak openly about it in Parliament. Is it not?
Well, just the third reading is just a straightforward one. The movers or the sponsors of the bill, they will move the motion for the Speaker to have the bill passed or be read a third time. And that third time, yes, it was moved and seconded. The majority leader tried, for want of a better word, I read Senate indicating that there were some amendments that we had again, and he was spraying the House through the Speaker to the sponsors of the bill to admit him time, so he'll be able to do that, and it be advertised, with time for it, to be properly understood by members who may not understand his arguments. But the Speaker said, well, it's not a decision for him to take, and so the Speaker had to put the question. And the question, when the Speaker put the question, and as many as are in favor of the motion that it should be read a third time, the ayes did have the loudest voice, and the nays were, from where it sat, they were mute over it. And so the Speaker said if the bill is in part, because the ayes did have it. And so that was where it got to. There was no opposition at that point, except to say that the Speaker, after that level, there was nothing else that could be said again. Most especially when the Speaker had put the question and then the House had approved it. And so they had gone past that side. It's just the sponsors of the bill who had addressed a press conference a short while ago. And in it, essentially, they are asking the President to timelessly assent to this. And that's all that they may say. And they've been very grateful to all the sponsors of the bill and also the MPs who especially the immediate past majority leader of Eke, Mr. Bonsu, who has been very instrumental in the process to have it passed and all that. And so it really get any other reaction except this queue that came, one on the floor, which was the majority leader, and the other bit had to do with the after the passage, where the sponsors of the bill addressed the press and thanked Ghanaians for this and their expectation of what the president should be doing.
And for our listeners, if you go on our Facebook page, 3FM927 on Facebook, we're streaming live videos of the deliberations even before the passage of this bill into law. Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who's the majority leader, had some few words to put out even before this bill was passed. What exactly was his position?
Well, he indicated that he had further amendments to do to the bill, and he needed time to officially do that. By so doing, it meant that he was going to advertise them, and in advertising them, it meant that it was going to take more than a day, for that to be done. But the speaker said, well, it is not in his domain, like I did say. It is not in his domain to be the one to decide for it, because he had actually been gone past that stage. Before the speaker would even put the question, the sponsors of the bill had some amendments made again today, but the standing orders does give the House the latitude to be able to suspend their own rules, to be able to take the bill through the passage. All of this were failed, and so if there was anything that should have been done about it again, it was supposed to have been on the floor. And all the arguments for and against the bill. And I must say that there wasn't necessarily any argument that was against the bill, except to say that the majority leader indicated that he had further amendments to give to make on the bill, which was a further second reading again. And that in itself was going to take a lot of time, and it would be quite laborious. Nobody knew what he was actually going to be doing in terms of the amendment, and also how long that was going to take. And so the speaker left it for the decision of the House, and that is where the House has gotten to now, where they had approved the bill in its entirety as we speak now. And so the name for it has been approved by the House is the Human Sexual Rights and Family Value Bill. That is what the name of it is now in the annals or in the study of the Hansa, and this is under which the president is expected to assent his signature to it.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time coming out for this update. It's our chief parliamentary correspondent there, giving us updates of what's been happening in Parliament. Some 29 minutes after 5, you're just joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. After nearly 3 years of deliberation, Parliament has finally passed a highly contentious anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, let's stay a bit further on this matter, because Reverend Oponi Frimpong, who is the executive director of the Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa and former general secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, is joining us. Reverend Oponi Frimpong, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening, and let me say good evening to your team and your cherished listeners.
I'm sure it must be some refreshing news hearing that this anti-LGBTQ plus bill has been passed by Parliament just a few minutes ago.
Yes, Alfred, today is February 28th, and it seems to me Parliament has given Ghanaians one of their best gifts as we celebrate some of the great men who died for our independence, people like Ajete, Lamte, and Atipo. And we only plead, as we comment members of Parliament, that they have done what Ghanaians asked them to do. Is Ghanaians, traditional leaders, church leaders, Muslim leaders, some civil society organizations, many people who supported this national concern issue, and that is what they have done. We plead with the president of our country that moving forward, he must consider this anti-LGBT law as a national concern, and maybe as early as possible just relax Ghanaians by assenting to the work Parliament has done. It is a national concern, and it must be given a national response as soon as possible.
Well, but if you hear those who oppose to this bill make the point, and I mean, the likes of Professor Audrey Gajekpo say that the fact that the minorities' voices remain minority does not necessarily mean that the majority voices for this bill would be right, and that he is urging the president not to assent to this bill for that matter, because in their view and the Center for Democratic Development and many other civil society organizations' view, this threatened the human rights of the minority groups that identify with these persons.
Yes, Alfred. I respect some of the names you have just mentioned and what they stand for. We are in a democratic environment, and that is how it must be done. If I'm hungry, I must be free to say I'm hungry. But on the whole, Ghanaians are thinking about young people, the generation that will come after us, what will protect our values as a people. There's nothing wrong, people demonstrating or raising their voices. But Parliament has done what Ghanaians, and I believe many Ghanaians will want to get it to be done. And so while other voices must be heard, it should not also suggest to us, therefore, we as a people don't know what should be best for us and our children and the years ahead of us, and therefore, because other dissenting voices are being raised, we should all go to sleep. Ghanaians have spoken through our members of parliament, and within and outside this this country, everybody must hear that Ghanaians want to protect our family and moral values. We will plead with the president that at least what Ghanaians have done through the parliament must be considered as a national concern, and he, as the president, the father of the nation, must go in line with what parliament and Ghanaians have called for. If somebody wants to send the law to court, these are all their democratic rights. If somebody wants to demonstrate, so be it. It should not stop us from protecting moral family values and protecting the next generations that will come after us.
I'm just receiving information that some 18 civil society organizations are preparing to challenge certain aspects of this bill that has been passed by Parliament at the Supreme Court in the coming weeks.
Definitely. That's what democracy is all about. If we're in a democratic environment, if I'm hungry, I must be free to say I'm hungry. Nobody should stop me from saying I'm hungry. I can do that on the street. I can do that by writing. I can do that through media, the platform you've given to all of us. I can do that through parliament. I can go to court. So anybody who is not free about anything is free to pursue their democratic opportunities. However, Parliament has done what Ghanaians asked them to do, that this LGBT issue is a national concern. Work on it for us. They have done that. We congratulate them. Now it has reached the office, the desk of the president. He must do what Ghanaians have asked those who have voted for his office, because Ghanaians want him to be there. This issue is a national concern. I will plead with the president, the father of the nation, is to give a national response to what Parliament has done.
So we understand that there's been a number of petitions already to the presidency not to sign this. If the president does not sign this bill and raises questions about its fiscal implications on the public purse, and so such bills, as he did in previous instances, his position is that it must emanate from him. What would be the position of the Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa?
Alfred, when we get to the bridge, we will know how to cross it. At least the Attorney General, who is supposed to be the president's lawyer, has participated in this process, it seems to me. So how the future will look like, now we don't know. And let's give the president the benefit of the doubt that he's in the office to do the work of Ghanaians. He's there to respond to national concerns. And I'm saying that what Parliament has done must be considered as a national concern. What happens later? Ghanaians will come together, and definitely Parliament and all those who must give response will do that. But again, with your platform, knowing him that he wants the best for this country, he wants to leave a good legacy behind him. This response that Parliament has given, a call that Ghanaians made, must attract his presidential acceptance even as early as possible. That's what even we are calling for. Petition, yes, those people have the right, even if they are in minority. Democracy must not only listen to the majority. The few, how many must be listening to, but they should not give us impression that what majority Ghanaians want to do, the national concern they have raised for today and tomorrow and the generations unborn should be walked over. I mean, that cannot be done anywhere.
Reverend Opone Frimpong, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it. Reverend Dr. Opone Frimpong is former chair of the Christian Council of Ghana and also the head of the Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa, one of the civil society organizations supporting the passage of this bill. Let's stay a bit further with Parliament, because Parliament's appointment committee is scheduled to vet the newly nominated ministers and deputies from Tuesday, March 5 to Tuesday, March 12, departing from his customary practice of maintaining ministers for prolonged periods. President Kufuor, if you recall, conducted a significant cabinet overhaul in response to mounting pressure from various political parties, civil society groups, and even members of his own party. Now, that 14 February reshuffle affected approximately 12 current ministers, including 10 cabinet ministers and 2 regional ministers. Notably, Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta was amongst those removed from their positions but reassigned to another portfolio the next day. President Kufuor nominated certain deputy ministers to substantive ministerial roles, whilst others only migrated from one ministry to new ministries. And it is these individuals who would undergo the vetting process. So the timetable, as published, indicates that on Tuesday, March 5, at 9 a.m., Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, is expected to face the Appointments Committee of Parliament. At 10 a.m., Lady Asariam Alasan, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. At 11 a.m., Martin Ejapa-Mensah, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. At 12 noon, Ophelia Mensah-Hayford, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. At 2 p.m., Daquan Newman, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. It follows on Thursday at 9 a.m. Dr. Bernardo Koboy, Minister Designate for the Ministry of Health. At 10 a.m. Titus Glover, Minister Designate for Greater Accra Region, is expected to also be vetted by the Appointments Committee. At 11 a.m. Fatima Abubakar, Minister Designate for the Information Ministry. At 2 p.m., Daniel Machato, Minister Designate for the OT region. And it continues on Friday all the way to Monday, March 11 as well. So that's the development of Parliament. But let's go straight to court now. The Supreme Court has dismissed a suit by advocacy group Child Rights International against the Attorney General on child streetism. The plaintiff, Bright Appear, was seeking the Apex Court to declare that the government is in breach of Article 15.1, 2, 13.1 and 35.4 of the 1992 Constitution for not ensuring that children receive special protection against exposure to physical and moral hazards. But on Wednesday, February 28, as earlier today, a 7-member panel of the justices presided over by Chief Justice Gertrude Tukono indicated in their judgment that the action was dismissed due to the failure of the plaintiff to properly invoke the jurisdiction of the court. Here's Bright Appear after the ruling today.
Okay with it. And once it has to do with jurisdictional issues, the Supreme Court also made it clear that, yes, indeed, we didn't invoke the jurisdiction properly. However, there is a merit in the case. So we are waiting to get the judgment from the court. And whatever it is that they have advised on, we would look at it properly. And then whatever the need is, we will still go back, because they were emphatic that the case that we have presented to them, there's a merit in it, but however, Well, it's a social issue, and if you look at the kind of structure that we have a number of institutions handling issues that relates to the environment. So we cannot limit our case to a particular ministry. We want to see how the system itself can work to protect the right of children. That is why we targeted AG, so that if there is a proper outcome, we can look at all the institutions that matter to deal with this particular issue. So we are not suing AG per se, but AG is organization or is an institution that represents the state on matters of law. So clearly, targeting them, I do not think that we are wrong in that regard. And as I indicated, it is not as we see that there is some kind of merit in the case, but it was also declared by the Supreme Court.
That's Bright Up here, Executive Director of Child Rights International. Now, still staying with the cause, the Supreme Court has dismissed an application filed by undercover journalist Anas Armia Anas requesting for a judgment passed by an Accra High Court to be quashed. Now, this follows an earlier application at the Apex Court requesting for the nullification of the High Court's dismissal of his defamation suit against a Member of Parliament for the Asin Central constituency, Kennedy Ohenia, Japan. Now, in a ruling on March 15, 2023, the High Court, presided over by Justice Eric Baum, a Court of Appeal judge sitting with additional responsibility as a High Court judge, dismissed the case for lacking merit. The judge had added that although the words spoken against Anas were factual and capable of defamation, he could not prove same. Subsequently, Mr. Armia Anas filed an application at the Supreme Court to quash the judgment of the High Court. The investigative journalist explained that the grounds for the application were based on, quote, absence of jurisdiction, unquote, by the sitting judge and the apparent or real likelihood of bias and impartiality on the part of the judge. But in a 3-2 majority decision, a 5-member panel of the Apex Court, presided over by the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Tukono, dismissed the certiorari application. The Chief Justice Gertrude Tukono, Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, and Samuel Asiedu were on the majority side, while Justices Isifu Moro, Tanko Amadu, and Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi were dissented. The 5-member panel also upheld the previous ruling by the High Court. So that's what happened in court earlier today. And before getting to business, the forum comprising 9 labor unions have given government and the Social Security and National Insurance Trust 14 days to transfer their past credit to their registered schemes. The 9 labor unions who make up the forum include the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, and the National Association of Graduate Teachers, the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Ghana Medical Association, and the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, Judicial Service Staff, and the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Here's Dr. Isaac Bampoado speaking on this issue.
It's a gathering of public sector unions and associations. And today we're discussing our pensions. And we have resolved that certain issues relating to our pensions should be attended to immediately. The first one being the top up for pensioners who retired in 2020 that the government promised them. Because as at that time, there was a shortfall of what they would have got if they were under state. And the president promised that they will be giving that top up. Up to we speak now. Now those monies have not been paid. The second one is about past credits. We will demand that past credits should be transferred to our various schemes for it to be managed by our schemes. Then we're also saying that during the transfer of monies to their schemes, there was a GLICO report that has not been implemented. We're asking government to implement this report immediately. We're also saying that Tier 2 arrears should be paid with penalty, 3% penalty, immediately to our schemes.
As Dr. Isaac Bampoado is Executive Secretary of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association. Now, the Ward District Court has ordered the 7 suspects arrested in connection with the brutal murder of Eric Johnson, CEO of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, also known as Girapa Dubai, to be remanded into police custody presided over by Mr. Max Bain Titrico. The court directed the suspects to reappear in 2 weeks while investigations continue. 6 of the accused individuals are to be held in the custody of the Wa Police, while the prime suspect, Eliasa Mahama, will remain at the Wa Central Prison. So that's the update on this. It's getting to business now with Michael Obudu right after this quick break.
Get ready for an epic adventure. Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kaku. Witness the breathtaking Insulezo Stilt Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264-932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana.
Brought to you by Malta Guinness.
Well, hello there. Good evening and welcome to the business news on Hot Edition. Coming up this evening, COPEC projects fuel prices in Ghana to increase by up to 6% next month. I am Michael Obudu. I'll bring you details of this and more shortly. Please stay. Thank you for staying. Let's now go straight into our top story now. As the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC has projected an up to 6% increase in fuel prices for the first pricing window in March 2024. Increase in international petroleum prices and dollar-CD exchange rates are main drivers for the projected increase at the local pumps. Petrol price is expected to go up by 4.41%, ranging from 12 cedis 28 pesos to 13 cedis 57 pesos per litre. Diesel price is also projected to increase by 6.26%, ranging from 13 cedis 60 pesos to 15 cedis 3 pesos, while price of LPG is to go up by 2.46%, ranging from 12 cedis 89 pesos to 14 cedis 25 pesos per kilogram. These are projections and may vary slightly based on actual market conditions. Now, away from that, a former finance minister, Setekbe, is cautioning government from being complicit in its debt management. According to him, the removal of arrears from the overall debt stock has the tendency to spell doom for the economy in the medium to long term. He was speaking at a media dialogue on Ghana's IMF program organized by PFM Tax Africa Network.
Or we look and read, we should be cognizant of the fact that some measures are qualified. And the fact that we are doing well may not necessarily mean. If we're doing the primary balance, we're good at indicating that we are doing well. I can assure you that we would have settled the domestic debt and would have started issuing 3-year bonds. But because the primary balance is not adequate, because what is keeping you out of the market is because you are owing them. You are owing them not just interest, but you are owing principal. So the primary balance is not enough. You have to do more, And we haven't even added debt repayments here. We are only talking about arrears. So the tendency to leave out arrears, whether it's bailout costs, whether it is FinSec costs and others, and say we are doing well, has hurt us before. And we must be very mindful, that it could hurt us again.
So you heard the voice of former Finance Minister Setekbe speaking. Then away from that, workers in Ghana are being encouraged to leverage their Tier 2 and 3 pensions to access mortgage from financial institutions. This can be a helpful option for many Ghanaians who are looking to buy a home but may not have the traditional down payment required. Pa Kofi Ankoma is the General Manager of Access Pension.
The pensions law gives every Ghanaian contributor into the pension schemes the right to use their pension accounts, both Tier 2 and Tier 3, to access mortgages. So you can use it as a collateral to access a mortgage with any mortgage house. Having just a Tier 2 pension, it's just 5% of your salary. It takes a long time for you to build up a critical mass to make a statement to even the bank, for the bank to consider your balance as collateral enough. But having both Tier 2 and Tier 3 gives you the chance, because the Tier 3 gives you the chance to contribute an additional 16.5% of your salary, of course pre-tax. So putting the Tier 2 and Tier 3 together on pre-tax basis, you're looking at about 21.5% of your salary. And over a long time, 3, 5, 10 years, you should have amassed quite some critical balance in your account. That's a statement that anybody who is going to give you credit today can stand on and say, oh, this individual is able to pay. So indeed, a Tier 3 account is critical to the success of you accessing.
So that was Pa Kofi Ankoma. He is the General Manager of Access Pensions Trust, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.
Get ready for an epic adventure. Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration, happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kaku. Witness the breathtaking Inzulezu Stilt Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264-932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana.
Brought to you by Malta Guinness.
Hello and thank you for staying tuned into Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Now, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his State of the Nation's address, said the country is now realizing its long-promised potential when it comes to tourism. Now, the address read in part that over 208,000 domestic and international visitors patronized the modernized Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park between 14th July and 31st December 2023. Showbiz critic Kojo Preko Dankwa and media and entertainment entrepreneur Baba Sadiq Abdullahi have been reacting to the president's address. They spoke with 3 Entertainment's Owusu Warai.
I am disappointed within the sector so far for how many years they've been on, for starting to get into 8 years now. Listen, the state of our creative arts is that, and President refused to talk about it. The state of our creative arts is that we have an Act 1048, and that 1048 is not working. We are not seeing any improvement. That is the state of our creative art. Therefore, I am disappointed. When you were speaking and you couldn't even touch on it, creative arts fund, you couldn't even touch on it. That is our state. The state of our creative arts is that we don't even have funds to even execute projects, national projects. We don't even have it. That is the state. The state of our creative arts is that our school at Kwadaso is still at the 80 to 70% or so that they promised. They didn't touch on it. And that is the current state of our creative art. Our amphitheaters are still not being finished. That is the current state of our industry. Those are the things we were expecting him to say and tell us what they really want to do.
There are a number of key things that they've been able to deliver to the sector. Don't continuously be rehashing their narratives of year of return. I mean, it's been the same conversation and again from 2019 till now. Key things such as the Creative Arts Court hasn't quite happened. We don't know what's happening to it as it stands now. We still want to hear them say, okay, well, the promises that we made over the past 8 years that got you excited, that got people to actually even create a whole movement to enable his coming into power, they are going to see to it, or they are going to, they are giving us an information on what exactly they are doing to it. it. But so far, the only thing that he's spoken about that we should have a focus on going into the next 10 months is a tax regime to enable large-scale film productions into the country. If the non-delivery of their promises to the sector is anything to go by, I don't think there's anything for us to be excited about. All in all, for the next 10 months, given the fact that this is an election year, I don't think we should have any major expectations from this particular government. I think that they would, and obviously if the 8-year reign ends, they'll go down as one of the worst when it comes to enabling the tourism, art and culture space.
And you had the showbiz critic Kojo Preko Dankwa and media and entertainment entrepreneur Baba Sadiq Abdullahi there reacting to the president's address, and they spoke with the entertainment Owusu-Warai. Now, in a heartwarming celebration of love, Nigerian gospel singer and songwriter Moses Bliss recently tied the knot with his Ghanaian fiancée in a beautiful civil wedding ceremony in Nigeria, and calling his wife a personal gift from God. The gospel singer expressed gratitude to the Almighty for bringing them this far. The two faithful hitmaker took to his social media pages to share some pictures and videos from the ceremony. Congratulations going out to them. And Chef Smith, also known as Millennium Chef Smith, who is attempting the longest cooking marathon Guinness World Record, has entered his 28th day since he officially started the attempt on February 1, 2024. So far, he has done over 650 hours of cooking, surpassing all existing attempts anywhere in the world today. Now, Chef Smith's cookathon attempt is expected to end on March 6, 2024, and find a lot of social media influencers reacting to that update on the timelines. The conversation has also moved from why is media houses not touching on, Chef Smith's cookathon attempt, but you find TV3 Ghana's Instagram, by the way, going to the venue or going to where everything is happening to give us some updates, some live action on how he's been faring so far. So for more updates on that, check out TV3_Ghana and also 3FM 92.7, and that will be all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. For more news, log on to 3news.com and keep your dial locked on 3FM 92.7. The 3FM drive continues. My name is Akofa.